What if Kokushibo fought against the other upper moons in blood battles? Would he be able to prove that he is the strongest, or is there someone who can defeat him and take the title for himself? Today, we will be going through all of Kokushibo's battles against the upper moons, and we even have a special showdown at the end, which you definitely don't want to miss. Even as a Hashira, Kokushibo was already extremely strong as he had access to the transparent world and selfless state. He was the second strongest Hashira and could easily kill scores of demons. His breathing technique, moon breathing, is the second strongest breathing technique in the entire series, second only to sun breathing. As a human, Kokushibo was extremely jealous of his younger brother's skill and strength. He wanted to surpass his brother and become the strongest, and he would do anything to make that happen. This deep hatred and jealousy were what pushed him to become a demon. After his transformation, he quickly became immensely powerful and occupied the position of Upper Moon 1. If Kokushibo ever fought against lower moons, it would be a child's play for him. The lower moons are just too weak compared with their upper moon counterparts. His mere presence would send shivers down the spines of all the lower moons, as they would easily be able to ascertain the vast difference in strength. Just to paint a more vivid picture, the upper moons remained unchanged for over a century. They've gone on to kill scores of Hashira, the highest ranked demon slayers. For instance, the Upper Moon 6, Daki and Gyutaro, have killed 7 and 14 Hashiras, and they are the weakest upper moons. So we can only imagine how many Hashiras Kokushibo must have killed. Meanwhile, the ranks of the lower moons constantly change because they are always killed by any Hashira who crosses paths with them. This fact angered Muzan and made him wipe out all the lower moons. Now the real blood battles start. Let's see how Kokushibo would fare against the Upper Moon 6 Daki and Gyutaro. Daki, as we all know, is a weakling. The only reason she is an upper moon is because of the special privilege Muzan gave Gyutaro, to also let his sister be an upper moon with him. Daki would perform terribly against Kokushibo. Even though she has managed to kill 7 Hashiras in her lifetime, Kokushibo would still kill her in one fell swoop. This is because most of the Hashiras she's killed can be attributed to the help of her brother. In fact, when they were decapitated by Tanjiro in the anime, Gyutaro revealed that Daki would have been killed several times had he not rescued her. Again, this goes to show just how weak she is. There's just no way she can hold her own in a battle against the strongest upper moon in existence, Kokushibo. As for Gyutaro, he may be able to hold his ground for some time, given his agility and speed. His poisons would obviously have no effect on Kokushibo. Even combined, both Daki and Gyutaro can't defeat Kokushibo. They're the weakest upper moons for a reason. But would Kokushibo be capable of slicing off both of their heads at the same time? This could be quite bothersome, even for the great Kokushibo. Ultimately, he would be able to decapitate both of them at the same time, since his moon-breathing techniques are capable of sending multiple attacks simultaneously. After Kokushibo finishes with Daki and Gyutaro, Gyoko will be next in the line. Gyoko is strong, no doubt. He was able to overwhelm the Mist Hashira Muichiro the first time they engaged each other. This feat is really impressive considering that Muichiro is a child prodigy and one of the strongest Hashiras in the series. Although Gyoko had the advantage at the beginning of the fight, he quickly lost once Muichiro awakened his Demon Slayer mark. Fast forward a few months later to the Infinity Castle arc, and Muichiro gets the beating of a lifetime from Kokushibo, even with his Demon Slayer mark awakened. In fact, the battle was more of bullying than an actual fight, as Kokushibo was just toying with him and, at the same time, effortlessly avoiding his attacks. Let's take a logical look at this series of events. Marked Muichiro defeated Gyoko. Meanwhile, the same marked Muichiro got destroyed by Kokushibo. With this, it's obvious that Gyoko would lose in a battle against Kokushibo. Only 3 more challengers are left, and the next one is Hantengu. Hantengu would most likely cause the most headache for Kokushibo compared to all the demons discussed so far. Ultimately, Kokushibo would win because the difference in raw strength and power between them is very significant. But how long would it take Kokushibo to end the battle? That'll probably depend on how fast he is able to kill Hantengu's clones, since that's one of the latter's most powerful abilities, being able to create clones of himself each time he is beheaded. Hantengu's strongest form, Zohakuten, is also incredibly strong, as he was capable of using it to battle Mitsuri, even with her Demon Slayer mark awakened. He would probably be able to stand against Kokushibo without dying immediately in this form, but in the end, he would only be buying time and focusing solely on defense. This, however, will not save him from the impending doom that awaits him, and at the end of the day, he will still be killed, and there's nothing he can do to avoid it. Finally, the battle that many fans wanted to see in the anime but never happened, 𝐴𝐶 versus Kokushibo. 𝐴𝐶 is incredibly strong, perhaps just as much as he's rebellious. Ideally, this battle should be different and more interesting, as this is the realm of the top 3 strongest demons. 𝐴𝐶 is a martial artist who has reached the peak of his physical abilities. His immense strength was witnessed in his battle against Rengoku. He basically kept playing with the flame pillar until he killed him, only getting in slight trouble due to the sun rising. He also battled against Giyu and Tanjiro at the same time, and he was able to overpower both of them even though Giyu activated his Demon Slayer mark. It's also important to mention that he and Kokushibo are the only demons besides Muzan who became immune to decapitation by Nichiren swords. With this, the only way to kill them would be to battle them long enough for the sun to rise. Another aspect of 𝐂𝐸𝐺's immense strength is his ability to sense the fighting spirit of his opponents. This bolsters his offensive and defensive capabilities and essentially makes him invincible. Kokushibo, on the other hand, has been capable of concealing his fighting spirit ever since he was a human. This is because he gained access to the transparent world and selfless state as a Hashira. So even back then, 𝐂𝐸𝐺 would find it incredibly difficult to sense his fighting spirit. It's crazy to think that human Kokushibo already possesses one of 𝐂𝐸𝐺's major weaknesses, and that the latter would probably lose a battle against him even in his human form. Essentially, human Kokushibo is comparable to 𝐂𝐸𝐺. This means that demon upper rank 1 Kokushibo would be on an entirely different level to 𝐂𝐸𝐺, and that he would easily be able to defeat him. Let's, for instance, strip Kokushibo of his ability to conceal his presence. He would still be capable of defeating 𝐂𝐸𝐺 with moon breathing, the second most powerful breathing technique, but he wouldn't accomplish this feat without a few injuries. Injuries that'll literally heal within seconds while 𝐂𝐸𝐺 remains dead. We will soon cover the ultimate showdown between Kokushibo and Upper Moons, but before that, we still have one more Upper Moon to cover: the cult leader 𝐷OMA. 𝐷OMA would definitely be a challenging foe for Kokushibo. We don't know much about the extent of 𝐷OMA's strength, but he's the second strongest demon in the ranks of the Upper Moons, and that says a lot. How would he fare in a bout against Kokushibo? Since we don't know much about the extent of his strength, let's take a look at some of his feats. 𝐷OMA was the Upper Moon 5 when he turned Daki and Gyutaro into demons. Thus, it's safe to say that he swiftly ascended into the position of Upper Moon 2 since, according to what Muzan said, the Upper Moon ranks have remained unchanged for the past century. This shows that he likely surpassed some of the already existing Upper Moons in terms of strength and power, thus getting him promoted to the rank of Upper Moon 2. Also, he defeated Shinobu, a Hashira of the Demon Slayer Corps, with relative ease, after which he basically toyed with Inosuke and Kanao in the ensuing combat. This shows that he would prove a pretty troublesome opponent for Kokushibo. Another testament to 𝐷OMA's strength is that he was not afraid of 𝐂𝐸𝐺's attacks, and he continuously irritated him. It's sad, however, that the full extent of his power was not revealed. The only time he was about to get serious in battle was when Shinobu's poison began to affect him. But by that time, it was too late as he was already extremely weakened from the effects of the poison. Overall, the fact that he is upper rank 2 says a lot, but despite all of his power, Kokushibo still remains the big boss of the Upper Moons, and he would still emerge victorious in a battle against 𝐷OMA with mid difficulty. And now we are getting to the final act, the ultimate showdown, 𝐷OMA and 𝐂𝐸𝐺 versus Kokushibo. Despite being the strongest of all the demons, it'll be very tough for Kokushibo to make it out of this battle alive. Firstly, it took 3 of the strongest Hashiras, Yome, Sonemi, Moichiro, plus Genya to defeat Kokushibo, split into 2. There's no way these teams can defeat 𝐷OMA and 𝐂𝐸𝐺 in separate battles. Even if they choose not to split up, there's no way this team of Demon Slayers can defeat both 𝐷OMA and 𝐂𝐸𝐺 if they teamed up and fought side by side at the same time. Yet, they managed to defeat Kokushibo. 𝐂𝐸𝐺 is already a formidable foe, and 𝐷OMA is even more formidable. Hence, as a tag team, assuming they would get along, they would definitely be able to defeat the Upper Moon 1 demon. The only entity capable of defeating this duo would be the Demon King himself, Muzan. And, of course, the great Yoriichi Sugikuni. Check out this video where we explained what would happen if Rengoku accepted 𝐂𝐸𝐺's offer to transform. Trust me, it's an excellent video.